Hi folks, I'm Dave Gallus, your host. Welcome back to We the People. You may know that I'm running for New Mexico State Senate in District 37, and of course I want you to vote for me, and you've probably seen my shows and you understand what I'm all about, but today we have a special guest, my good friend, Chuck Windler. Now on the ballot you will see Charles Richard Windler, and he's running for my, my colleague next to me, the Senate seat for Senate District 38 in New Mexico, Doña County. So, Chuck, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Dave. It's quite an honor. I'm humbled.
Oh, well, okay.
Sincerely. Well, no, I am, for you to take time out of your busy schedule campaigning to help support mine here at this point.
Well, it's so important that we get the right people in legislature. And folks, New Mexico's in bad shape, has been in bad shape. Democrats have been in charge for, 90 years? You know, it's about time for a change. We're the worst in the bad stuff, and we're at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to the good stuff. I mean, we have the highest suicide rate way up there in drug and alcohol abuse, especially with this COVID-19. And our education system is the worst in the nation. So there's so much we can do, but it's only going to change when we have the right legislators. So Chuck, your boundaries basically are south and west in the city, south and west portion of Las Cruces, and then they travel south and west from there to the boundaries of the county. Am I right on that point?
Well, yeah, it starts on North Alameda. And like you say, it comes down through the western part of the city between Main Street and Alameda basically, and it goes on further south and kind of meanders around. It goes over to the university coming down, staying on this side of 25 and 10, and it goes all the way down to Gadsden High School, just right on the northern boundary of Gadsden High School. Then it goes way out on the West Mesa.
So it's basically south and west, starting at Alameda.
Right.
Okay. Well, okay, Chuck. Now I know you've been an educator, and education's a very big portion of what I'm all about as far as changing that we have to change in New Mexico and Doña County. So tell me about yourself and what your background is.
Well, background, 37 years as a public servant in education, as a teacher, science and math for about 12 years, and the other 25 years I was in administration. Became a principal, district's at-risk coordinator, and I've been at all grade levels. I've been at the elementary, the old middle school, junior high they used to call it, and high school. And I even taught out at La Tuna Federal Prison at night some. I taught adult basic education classes. Wow. So yeah, I've had quite a little bit of experience at all the different grade levels. I was assistant principal of Grants High School, so I worked with the Native Americans up there, the Navajos and the Laguna Acamas, and I worked down for about a year down at around the Waco, Texas area. The Branch Davidians, I think they're called.
Okay, yes.
That was in my district, and so I experienced working with the African Americans there. So I really feel like I've had a lot of experience, and so that's done well for me, being able to relate to a lot of different age groups and a lot of different types of people, races, so forth and so on. I don't like using that word, but that's the short of it and the long of it. So yeah, 37 years. Then supposedly I retired, but here I am. And I certainly don't feel like I'm retired. And I don't want to be retired. I want to continue to work as you are, having been a policeman for 25 years. So we both have had the blessings of working with the public as public servants, even though we got paid. But bottom line is people look to us to do our job, to protect them. And that's one of the things that was always big on my mind, is to provide a positive learning environment for kids and a positive work environment for the people that I was responsible for and to. So I felt very blessed to be able to have done that. So here I am.
We have so many educators that are running for office now. That gives you a key as to why people are running and how important education is. We have John Foreman running for House 52. We have Brandy Polanco running for House 36, I believe it is. Chuck Windler, retired teacher, principal, and it's so important that we get the education right, which we are not right, because especially my opponent, Bill Soules, nice enough guy, but you know, he has been the head of the education in the Senate, the top legislator in the Senate for his full 8 years in office. Vice chair, now chairman. We're the worst state in the union. So I know we can do better. It's just a matter of getting the right legislators and the right legislators that can work together. And I would say, you know, at one time I could vote for certain Democrats like John Arthur Smith, Mary Kay Papin. They were very instrumental in the Senate. And I think Mary Kay was, she was pro tem.
Pro tem. Mm-hmm.
And then John Arthur was, he was the Legislative Finance Committee head.
Yes, that's correct.
I mean, these are key people. But the Democratic Party saw fit to take them out of office. They replaced them with regressive socialists. So these are well-loved people, and they're two people I could have voted for as Democrats. But it tells me that the Democratic Party has changed so much that we have to get, and I can only say, Republicans in to change what's going wrong. So, and I know 90% of the Republicans that are running in office, like yourself, Chuck, and we can make a difference if we get into office. And it's up to you folks to vote. We're working our tails off now running for campaigning, and we'll work harder when we're in Santa Fe. But it's up to you to get us elected. If you like what we say, make sure you get out and vote. Get your friends out, your family out, your co-workers, your neighbors. Get out and vote. So,
yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt, but Dave, you're absolutely right. Education is really the key. And you know, and I'm just as guilty as anybody else. I didn't pay attention to what was going on around us, our communities, and of course the nation. And we kind of operate as conservatives. We operate on the basis that other people kind of do their jobs and do diligence. And
well, you hope they do. You want to trust.
And trust. I mean, we're paying them lots of money. We're their bosses, if you will, if you want to put it bluntly. They're our employees, and it seems like today they don't seem to understand that concept.
Okay.
And you know, you and I are both strong constitutionalists.
Yep.
We believe in we the people, and you're absolutely right in encouraging everybody to get out and vote, to get themselves educated on the issues and the people running for these different races, and just the content of their character, as Martin Luther King used to say. Not the color of their skin, but the content of their character, how true that is. And to ask what you can do for your country instead of your country doing for you, JFK. Yep. We've had some solid Democrats that have been so good at their jobs and trustworthy. And like you said, Mary Kay Papin and John Arthur Smith provided a tremendous amount of stability legislatively with our money, your money, our money. And gee, with those people not there now, it's really concerning to me, and it should be to everybody.
It's scary.
You know, but when you start voting along lines of the party and you put politics above everything else and not understand it's the people that govern. I mean, we're going to be governed by some form of government. So it's up to us to decide what kind of government we'll have. And education is the key.
Well, it's educating not just our students, which is so important, but educating the voters. And there's an excellent website. It's vote411.org, and it's by the League of Women Voters. You can actually see questions that were posed to us candidates and what our answers have been to get a real good sense of who we are, what we're about. But Chuck and I are both Christian, constitutional, common sense conservatives.
There you go.
But we also relate to. I have many Democratic friends. I have independent friends. And I can talk to people, and so can Chuck. So really, we want to work together. If we don't work together, if you have a Democrat and a Republican fighting each other and nothing gets done, that's not good. You have to be able to compromise. You have to, within limits. There are some things that we won't compromise on. We are pro-life. We are pro-God. But we don't jam it down anybody's throat. But we want to work together in Santa Fe, and that can happen with the right legislators. So, Chuck, it sounds like not only have you been involved in education, but education with minority classes, Indians, Native Americans, black communities, Hispanic communities, or Hispanic communities. So, well,
I'm married to a wonderful lady, and I do emphasize the word lady, Isela Aguilar Windler. She is a naturalized citizen, and she and her parents came over here, and when she was about 13 or so, had to learn English, and she ended up going to western New Mexico, where I had the blessed opportunity of meeting her, and she ended up teaching and became a counselor, both high school and elementary. And we're working our 55th year together.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, I have been blessed again to learn firsthand about so many of the issues that are before us, and that is, we're all immigrants, okay? But here I've learned from her. And let me tell you, she tells me very quickly where I'm thinking wrongly, about some of these issues. And so she's such a wonderful sounding board for me.
That's good.
And,
so it's not just you, it's you and Isela that are running for office
well, I
here.
keep telling her, I said, you should be the one running. I mean, you've got all the ingredients. You're female, Hispanic, and, her thoughts on some of these issues, and we don't always agree. But you know what? I just hate it when she's right.
I know it with my wife, Bernadette DeRazio, who's running for county treasurer.
Yeah.
She's smarter than I am.
Yeah.
She knows how to handle money better than I do, and she's running for county treasurer. She will be a good steward of your money in Doña County.
Oh, absolutely.
But I know what you mean, Chuck. It's like, I've learned when to shut up, say yes, dear, and walk away.
Yeah.
And obviously, you learned it a long time ago. It took me a while to figure it out. But we're both blessed with wonderful wives, and we couldn't be doing this without
Absolutely.
our wives. And that says something about compromise.
Yeah.
If we can compromise in our house, we can compromise in our state house in Santa Fe.
Absolutely, because it's just an extension of our families, the communities. You just think about it on a broader scale. I know one of the things that moved me to leave the classroom and get into administration was I got to think, I says, this would be wonderful. I'd be in charge of a whole campus. What a large classroom, okay? And,
Yes.
And it's not that you want to control or anything, but you just have some ideas that you feel like you'd like to share with more people. And so you open up that larger pool of people that you can reach out to. And, oddly enough, I don't know just how efficient it was as an evaluation metric or tool, but I never found my name on a bathroom wall in one of my buildings. Okay?
That's a big indicator.
And so I said, that was interesting. I didn't go looking for it.
And your name's not that hard to spell, so
No, it's
they could have done it.
Well, Chuck, you can change a little modification there.
You've got to be careful with that one.
Got to be careful with that one.
Yeah, I hear
And,
you.
we need to learn to laugh at ourselves and laugh with
yeah.
each other. And this whole thing about PC and everything, oh man, I'm so saddened by this dark, gloomy cloud that seems to be hanging suspended over us. And I remember a more peaceful time when we could laugh and have fun, and what was on the TV and so on and so on. We all got a good laugh, and you weren't afraid to have your kids around you, okay? And if I may be so bold, I'm bragging pretty well here right now, but our older son, Christian, he's a Air Force Academy graduate, 20-year veteran, Lieutenant Colonel, we call him. He's retired now, and he's teaching ROTC at a high school in Virginia. Our middle, Carla, Dr. Carla, we call her because she's an optometrist. And our youngest one, Carlos, a chemical engineer, graduated from Michigan State University, and he works at home. And so, and our grandkids, 6 of them, I mean, we've been so really blessed. And I just feel like, folks, just adopt a healthy lifestyle. I didn't know that early on, but now as I'm reflecting back on things, I'm just telling you, Grandpa used to tell me, you have a guardian angel, and you know what? He's true. It was true what he said. And
I wish when I was a young father, I had the wisdom then that I have now, but it doesn't work that way.
No.
But we're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back, Chuck, and we'll continue to fix all the problems in Doña County.
Oh, yeah, in just a few minutes. You got it, Dave.
Okay. Stand by, folks. We'll be right back.
Are you happy how New Mexico has been run in 2020? I am not. I am Isabella Solis, and I am running to change New Mexico. First, let me clarify. Yes, I switched parties. I've been a Democrat my entire life, so this was not a decision I took lightly. But the truth is that the modern Democrat Party does not share the New Mexico values I hold to. As someone who believes in the sanctity of life, pro-growth economic policies, secure borders, and fiscal responsibility, I no longer feel there's a home for me in my former party. The current leadership has embraced far-left views. They want us to depend on government handouts instead of being self-reliant. They want to control what we do and how we do it instead of allowing our citizens to think for themselves and make informed choices. I am running to change the future of New Mexico. It is time for us to stop being last and start giving our citizens a fighting chance. Please join me to save our state and create the change we need.
Vote for change in November. Vote for Isabella Solis for House of Representatives.
I'm Rochelle Ponder. I'm running for New Mexico House District 35. Elected officials are community leaders who listen to the needs of people. Government needs to get out of the way so we can all go back to work safely and restore the economy. I respect and support law enforcement officers. Defunding the police is never an option. Law and order is essential to keeping our families and our neighborhoods safe. Vote Rochelle Ponder, the change New Mexico deserves.
Hi folks, welcome back to We the People. I'm Dave Gallus, your host, and we have our special guest today, Chuck Windler. But when you go to the ballot, it's Charles Richard Windler. He's running for New Mexico Senate District 38. I'm running for New Mexico Senate District 37, so we're neighbors and partners and good friends. When we just signed off at the last segment, Chuck, we were talking about how there's a lot of unrest, and I know for a fact that there's at least 20 cities that are out of control around our country. And you know, the latest one that I heard about was Philadelphia, where I served as a policeman for 25 years. Now, back in '71 was just after our mayor, Frank Rizzo, who used to be the police commissioner, he stopped the rioting in Philadelphia that began with the Black Panthers on Columbia Avenue. There was a no-nonsense rule that you do not let cities get out of control. Now, I don't even know what he was. He might have been a Democrat back then, but he was certainly a conservative, and he was a law and order mayor. And he stopped Philadelphia from burning. Now, those cities that are burning and out of control now are Democratic controlled. The difference is Democrat and Republican. They are not willing to stop the violence before it destroys lives, property. So we have to stop the violence. Now, don't think it can't happen in New Mexico, because at the present, the Democrats control the House, the Senate, the state legislature, Doña County, and Las Cruces. And Las Cruces, although they won't say that it's a sanctuary city, they call it a welcoming city. Yes. To me, that's the same thing. So you better elect the right legislators, because if you don't know what can happen. It can be way out of control. So my only solution would be to elect Republicans. So, well, Chuck, we talked about that. Did you want to add anything about the unrest around the nation?
Well, I think you've pretty well summed it up, Dave. But yeah, it can come into our own backyard. I think we've been very blessed. Our community here was somewhat buffered by some of those areas, because we're still a lot rural, if you will. I would say that the Democrats of yesteryears, Blue Dog Democrats, whatever, you know, there wasn't that much difference between us. I earlier quoted JFK, Martin Luther King, so on and so on. I mean, those people, if they were alive here today, I think they'd be really shaking their head and hanging it down in dismay of what's happening. My point is simply this. The elder ones in the Democrat Party, their values were very, very similar to present-day conservative Republicans. And I don't mean the rhino, because we have ours too, okay? Yeah. So the bottom line is, it's about us as individuals, and I would urge people to examine themselves first, because it starts with us as individuals. And it's called expectations. What is it that we expect of ourselves? And don't take what you're seeing on the TV and the polls and Facebook and Twitter. Look what's happening to those social media outlets now. I mean, they're controlling things. Yeah. And so we need to understand that we, the people, we're in charge. Each and every one of us has power within ourselves. I mean, we have that vote. And that's the way we're going to get this change, is to go out and vote with your principles and your values. There are common threads that unites us, okay? That's very true. It always has been. I mean, when our communities are being attacked by people that claim to be progressives, they're in actuality, they're regressive. They're going backwards. I mean, what you see now is getting more animalistic than I've ever seen it.
And I've heard them say that they're big on socialism. Well, I have a solution to this problem. We have an exchange program. Anybody that thinks socialism is the way to go, we allow them to exchange a person from a socialist country. So anybody that likes socialism can go to China, and we can ask any Chinese people that want to live in the free capital market system in the U.S. to come here. One-way ticket, folks, you don't get to come back. But you can report back to us whether it's working or not.
The exchange program. We have that at schools,
student
universities,
exchange. Well,
and
yeah, this could
cities.
be adult exchange program. But, you know, that's one possible solution. So don't shoot the TV, folks. You know, I'm kidding. I don't think it'll work. But, you know, just critical thinking is so important at this point.
Well, that in schools, getting back to that a little bit, if I may, they're training us. They're indoctrinating us. You know, the schools, unfortunately, have taken God and any semblance of our faith, whatever it may be, out. And that's for a reason. So that they can fill our kids, because there's a vacuum in there, and they can fill our kids with their thoughts and their philosophies. And if you don't believe me, go and find out. Start asking your schools, you know, because you have the power to go to these school board meetings. You know, I had the blessed opportunity to be the chairperson of a charter school in New Mexico. And I saw firsthand, that's how it all started, education, is representing the local community. And I saw firsthand through this charter school how that works so extremely well. Unfortunately, the State Department saw fit to axe that school.
See, that's
just when we were getting it going. But anyway, I've been a Santa Fe.
It's competition. The public education system is a monopoly. They do not want any competition. And the public education system is run by the unions. The unions pay to elect the people that will push their agenda, and that is to keep the public school system as a monopoly with no competition. I mean, we have an example right here in town. It's the Mesilla Valley Christian School, run by the fellow that's running for House District 52, John Foreman, and he can educate for $5,000 a year, where the state pays anywhere from $10,000 to $16,000 a year per student. And at Mesilla Valley Christian School, their history is in the 40 years they've been in operation, they have not had one student that didn't graduate high school. Yet the average rate of high school dropouts in New Mexico is 25 to 30%. There's no compromise here.
If I may, I taught at Gaston. Started working at Gaston and ended up at Gaston at Santa Teresa Middle School as the principal. My wife, again, is a graduate of Gaston. And I assure people that these kids are capable of doing what needs to be done. And so people that keep saying that our kids, they can't learn whatever, I says, no. I can name names after name. My wife can do the same about people in our community that are up there in their professions. They're lawyers and doctors, medical people, so forth and so on. So it's all about expectations. We've lowered the bar.
Well, I met the principal of Gadsden, Hector Giron.
Former student of mine.
How about that?
Hi, Hector.
Hello, Hector. Really sharp fellow with a lot of good ideas.
Great athlete, too.
But that's right, you were telling me. But the people, these teachers and principals and superintendents are stuck in a system that doesn't work. If we allowed the parents to choose what schools their children to go to and have input as to what the curriculum is, what their children learn, and what they don't learn, then these teachers, superintendents, and principals will be allowed to unleash the energy that they have, why they got into the business of education. It's not about making a ton of money. It's about teaching, which is in their heart. So we need to allow the parents to get involved and allow the teachers to do their job so our kids will succeed.
Yeah, amen to that, Dave.
Well, I have another subject that is very important, is
we
jobs.
got lots of subjects,
jobs in New Mexico, which we don't have jobs. New Mexico is a welfare state. So we need to bring in jobs through reduced regulations, business-friendly tax system. You know, I look at Texas. Texas does not have a personal income tax, does not tax Social Security, which we should never tax Social Security. Amen. Our seniors shouldn't be taxed. And also, they don't have a corporate tax. So why can Texas be so successful and New Mexico can't? I'll tell you why. It's run by Republicans in Texas. New Mexico is run by Democrats. Now, I have a lot of Democratic friends, so I'm not trashing anybody, but I just want you to think about what the repercussions are if you don't vote for conservative-minded people, free market enterprise, and that goes for education as well.
Well, Dave, again, as you already clarified, we have a lot of friends that are Democrats, so let's emphasize and make sure that we're talking about this progressive portion of the Democrat Party.
The regressive socialists.
The regressive, and some of them call themselves the new Democrat Party, and I'm saying, no. I'm talking about the old Democrat Party that we used to be able to work together with, okay?
Yes.
So we need to make that distinction very clearly, folks.
Yes.
So I'm saying we need to go back to that. And of course, you got to be careful when you say go back to, because the new people say, well, we're new and da-da-da, and I'm saying, well, there's certain there are things called absolute truths, folks. You know, if you're going to hit me, well, I'm going to hit you back, okay?
Right. Traditional values.
Traditional values, okay? Yes. To be able to speak your mind in a civil way, okay, knowing that we have differences. I mean, I got a big, long nose. Obviously, I'm different than a lot of other people that don't have long noses. But, you know, we have so many people that I want this and I want that and da-da-da. And I'm saying, oh, wait a minute. You know, looking at differences don't bring us together. Looking at our commonality is a starting point. I mean, can we not come to the table and negotiate starting with our similarities, our commonalities? I mean, for heaven's sakes, folks, where has that all gone? Okay?
Well,
I mean, this country was founded basically upon a faith in God, or whatever you want to term that power, but there is something that controls, okay? And it's not man and people and human beings, and it's also about hard work. I mean, hard work. People come in this country for jobs, and they're willing to work hard. That's my in-laws, they did that, okay?
Chuck, you know what? We could run another show right behind this one, but one subject we didn't touch on is abortion. Now, we're both pro-life, and it's not about judging the women, it's about supporting the women with the decision that they have to make. Letting them know that their only option is not, the only option is abortion is not true. There are other options out there. We want to support them, and if they have made the decision, we want to help them through getting over the emotional backlash from that. So, well, we're just about...
Now, there is a difference between women's health, addressing that key issue, and abortion. Those are two separate issues.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Planned Parenthood gets into the business of women's
Planned
health.
Parenthood is an oxymoron. I mean, that's not Planned Parenthood. It's planned murder, and it's a big money maker. But we are at the end of our show, Chuck. I'm sorry to say.
We're just getting started.
I know. Well, you got to come back after the election.
Oh, so, yeah, let's do that.
Listen, folks, you got to get out and vote. Early voting is still on, but then November 3rd is the last day to vote. And I would say don't wait till November 3rd, because the lines are going to be long, because you have social distancing. So get out and vote. Make sure you vote, I'm thinking, in person, because that way there's no question as to whether or not your ballot is going to be counted and counted correctly. But that's, well, I don't even know that you have an option anymore about absentee balloting. It's beyond that point. So,
I think you're too
so
late
go
on
in
that,
person. It is safe to vote. And remember, November 3rd, Tuesday, is the last day to vote. So, Chuck, it's been an absolute pleasure. Chuck Windler, Senate District 38, Dave Gallus, Senate District 37. You can find Chuck on CWendler, CWENDLER.com. And you can see me at davegallus.com, DAVEGALLUS.com. So, we'll see you next week after the election. I hope we're all happy. Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you. I'm very humbled.